finally. I started to think you weren't coming.
Nobody said you had to hang out in the creepy cave while you waited.
Well, I did wait, so let's make this quick. These idiots are carrying the red lyrium out in unprotected containers. We don't want to stick around long enough for it to start talking to us.
Why would the containers need to be protected?
Lyrium is incredibly dangerous in its raw form. It can poison or kill dwarves, and we're resistant to it. Sometimes it just explodes. No warning.
Basically, only crazy people mine lyrium.
The mining cast doesn't just sling it into a bucket. It's carried in special containers that keep it under control. And that's normal lyrium. The red stuff is worse. I wouldn't be surprised if most of their miners die just digging it up.
You seem to know more about the effects of red lyrium than most.
Varric told me plenty about what it did to him. And his brother.
How did you find this operation in the first place? There must be hundreds of Deep Road's entrances.
I've used this entrance in the past. Varric's not the only surface dwarf to explore the Deep Roads. Oh, I've got to admit, I was pretty surprised when I came here and found it full of humans.
We better get to work.
Sounds good to me. This is what you do now?
Beg pardon?
Skulking around in caves, shooting guys? Is this your day-to-day?
I usually try to avoid the caves.
You had me worried, you know.
What did I do now?
That letter you sent me about the Red Lyrium was the first I'd heard from you since the Chantry explosion.
Had it been that long?
Seriously, if you died in that mess, I'd have come back to Kirkwall and dug you up just to kick your ass.
What would you do if I'd been cremated?
Kick your ashes, of course.
We need to seal that tunnel.
How is what's-his-name?
Bogdan? He's in Navarra right now, selling my machine to wealthy landowners.
I heard some of the guild were trying to get you named a paragon for that contraption.
That's not gonna happen, even if I am 10 times the Smith Bronca ever was. A surfacer paragon? Never. I built these doors. They probably shut this one from the other side when they heard the ruckus we were making. Ta-da!
You've been here often enough to renovate the cave?
You already know I've used this entrance in the past. I don't know if Eric's told you, but the Merchants Guild is cutthroat. Literally. I built the doors to keep rivals from following me down here and arranging accidents.
I guess it's a good thing you came along then.
I get that a lot. After you. This is almost fun. Kinda like old times.
I don't recall us ever shooting people together.
Remember crashing Bartran's guild dinner? We might as well have shot him.
This isn't nearly as dangerous as pissing off my brother.
Get up, you lazy dog!
One less to worry about.
How long are you gonna be in Orlais, do you think?
As long as this weird shit is going on, at least. Maybe longer. Why?
You'll have to stop by before Bogdan gets back. You should see my new workshop.
I'll see what I can do. You know your family will kill me if I stop by, right?
They're not gonna kill you.
You always say that, and they always send assassins.
There you are. You won't be able to use this entrance again.
Bianca.
You were the one who leaked the Tig's location.
It's not like that. Not entirely. Shit. When I got the location, I went and had a look for myself. And I found the Red Lyrium, and I studied it.
You know what it does to people.
I was doing you a favor. You want to know how this stuff works just as much as I do. I just wanted to figure it out.
How did you go from studying red lyrium to giving the location to Corypheus?
I found out that red lyrium... it has the blight, Varric. Do you know what that means?
What? The two deadly things combined to form something super awful?
Lyrium is alive, or something like it. Blight doesn't infect minerals, only animals. I couldn't get any further on my own, so I looked for a Grey Warden mage. Blight and magical expertise in one, right? And I found this guy, Larius. He seemed really interested in helping my research. So I gave him a key.
Larius? He was the Grey Warden we met in Corypheus's... Oh, shit. That's how he survived.
I didn't realize until you said you found red lyrium at Haven. I came here and, well, then I went to you.
That name means something to you, Varric?
He was at the Grey Warden prison where we found Corypheus. And he definitely wasn't a mage before.
You had to know we'd figure out what happened, Bianca. Why did you insist on coming with us?
Varric told me what people were doing with the red lyrium. I had to help make this right.
You told Varric you had a lead, so we'd straighten out your mistake.
I know I screwed up, but we did fix it. It's as right as I can make it.
This isn't one of your machines. You can't just replace a part and make everything right.
No, but I can try, can't I? Or am I supposed to wallow in my mistakes forever, kicking myself, telling stories of what I should have done?
Ha! As if I would tell stories about my own mistakes.
The red lyrium is out. Closing this entrance won't undo that.
We've done all we can here. Bianca, you'd better get home before someone misses you.
Varric.
Don't worry about it.
Get him killed, and I'll feed you your own eyeballs, Inquisitor.
Seal that tunnel. Goodbye!
Here, let me try.
Victory in the Arbor Wilds. The Archdemon might have been a real threat to our army, but it flew off once we turned the tide. It is still out there, however. I wonder what Corypheus plans now.
We'll deal with whatever he throws at us.
Do not underestimate Corypheus. He is powerful, and you have yet to fight him one-on-one. But he will come. You will get your chance.
You don't seem concerned about that.
I am terrified. Yet I have faith in you. Not long ago, this was impossible to imagine. You, successful against all odds, victory close at hand. The time has come to consider what will come next.
You'll be the next Divine, I assume.
That has not happened yet.
But it may.
If the Maker wills it, then yes, I will answer his call. Blessed are they who stand before the corrupt and the wicked, and do not falter. I will stand with you in the end, Inquisitor, if you will have me.
Though all before me is shadow, yet shall the Maker be my guide. I shall not be left to wander the drifting roads of the beyond. For there is no darkness in the Maker's light, and nothing that he has wrought shall be lost.
A prayer for you.
For those we have lost, and those I am afraid to lose.
I'm glad you haven't lost your faith.
I've questioned it at times, but I found comfort in faith when life offered little. Corypheus will retaliate. It's only a matter of time. We must draw strength wherever we can.
Unless he gets bored and surrenders. Any chance of that?
I doubt it.
Greetings, Inquisitor.
I'd like to know more about you.
If you have questions, then ask.
I leave you to the garden.
Of course.
With passioned breath does the darkness creep. It is the whisper in the night, the lie of...
I'm glad to have answers, but... shit. The second she showed up here, I knew. I let this mess happen. I gave her the Tig. I am not good at dealing with shit like this.
I don't think anyone is equipped any better than you are.
No, the point is, I don't deal with things. If Cassandra hadn't dragged me here, I'd be in Kirkwall right now pretending none of this was happening.
You know that's not true. You've worked as hard as any of us to stop Corypheus.
Is that true? I don't even know anymore. Thank you for your help back there.
After all this, do you think you'll see Bianca again?
I always do.
I wish I had been with you at the Temple of Mythal. I could have warned you.
Warned me?
You gave yourself into the service of an ancient elven god!
What does that mean exactly?
You are Mythal's creature now. Everything you do, whether you know it or not, will be for her. You have given up a part of yourself.
I have not become Mythal's slave.
Not yet. But if you remove the layer of nostalgia from stories of the Elven gods, you might see the danger. They were arrogant and fickle. They warred amongst themselves. They had feuds, vendettas. And you are bound to one of them now. I suppose it is better you have the power than Corypheus. Which leads to the next logical question. What will you do with the power of the well once Corypheus is dead?
I'm not arrogant enough to think it's my decision alone. Whatever happens, we'll do it together.
You think to share your power, to avoid the temptation to misuse it. A noble sentiment, but ultimately a mistake.
Why?
Because while one selfless man may walk away from the lure of power's corruption, no group has ever done so.
I trust my friends.
I know that mistake well enough to carve the angles of her face from memory.
Why is this so important to you?
You have not been what I expected, Inquisitor. You have impressed me. You must not let false modesty allow you to pass your power to someone else. There are few regrets sharper than watching fools squander what you sacrifice to achieve. Forgive my melancholy. Corypheus has cost us much. The Temple of Mythal did not deserve such a fate. The orb he carries, and its stolen power, that at least we may still recover. With luck, some of the past may yet survive.
You planning to leave before we take down the bad guy?
No, but there may not be a later. It seemed wise to say my goodbyes now. I cannot believe the Grey Wardens could even conceive of such a plan. To seek out these old gods deliberately, in some bizarre attempt to preempt the Blight.
How many lives were lost during the last Blight? Corypheus notwithstanding, I don't blame the Wardens for acting instead of reacting.
They acted stupidly.
By trying to end the Blight forever?
Yes. Would it have worked? Do you know? Did they? The fools who first unleashed the Blight upon this world thought they were unlocking ultimate power. Forgive me. The entire idea is unnerving.
Brilliant, isn't it? One moment you're trying to restore order in a world gone mad. That should be enough for anyone to handle, yes? Then, out of nowhere, an archdemon appears and kicks you in the head. What? You thought this would be easy? No, I was just hoping you wouldn't crush our village like an anthill. Sorry about that. Archdemons like to crush, you know. Can't be helped. Am I speaking too quickly for you?
I was distracted, that's all.
Distracted? By my wit and charm? I have plenty of both.
How interesting to find someone so aware of his strengths.
I'm a man of many talents. What can I say? I always assumed the Elder One behind the Venatori was a Magister. But this is something else completely. In Tevinter, they say the Chantry's tales of Magisters starting the Blight are just that. Tales. But here we are. One of those very Magisters, a dark spawn.
Who does the Imperium say started the Blight?
You know how it is. Not us. They say dark spawn were always there. Magisters and the Blight aren't even related. Is that a surprise? No one wants to admit they shit the bed. But if Corypheus is one of the Magisters who entered the Black City and he's dark spawn, what other explanation is there?
Why does that make you angry?
Because the Imperium is my home. I knew what I was taught couldn't be the whole truth, but I assumed there had to be a kernel of it, somewhere. But no, it was us all along. We destroyed the world.
You didn't do anything. Those men did, 1,000 years ago.
True, except that one of them is up and walking around right now. Not to mention I have idiot countrymen who would happily follow him down that path again. No one will thank me, whatever happens. No one will thank you either. You know that, yes?
We don't know what will happen. Nobody does.
An optimist! Such a rare breed. I've stumbled upon a unicorn. All I know is this. Corypheus needs to be stopped. Men like him ruined my homeland. I won't stand by and let him ruin the world. Oh, and congratulations on that whole leading the Inquisition thing, by the way. What happened at the Elven Temple? It's got me thinking. I should go back, shouldn't I? To Tevinter. Once this is done. If we're still alive. All my talk of how terribly wrong things are back home. But what do I do about it? Nothing.
How does this relate to the Elven Temple?
You encountered ancient elves. A piece of history. Something the Imperium didn't destroy. Maybe my people can atone for what we've done. There is something still left to restore. Maybe not all of us want to, but that could be altered. If you can change minds, so can I.
You're not doing nothing, Dorian. You came here. You're fighting with us.
Thank you for saying that. I want to do more than stop Corypheus, however. I want to save my home. It might surprise you to know that you're the one who inspired me. You're shaping the world, for good or ill. How could I aspire to do any less? If it means proving that Tevinter can be better, that there's hope even for my homeland, I would do anything.
Anything interesting?
A letter regarding Felix, Alexius' son. He went to the Magisterium, stood on the Senate floor and told them of you. A glowing testimonial, I'm informed. No news on the reaction, but everyone back home is talking. Felix always was as good as his word.
Was?
He's dead. The Blight caught up with him.
Are you all right?
He was ill, and thus on borrowed time anyhow.
It doesn't mean you can't regret his death.
I know. Felix used to sneak me treats from the kitchens when I was working late in his father's study. Don't get into trouble on my behalf, I tell him. I like trouble, he'd say. Tevinter could use more mages like him. Those who put the good of others above themselves.
Were the two of you...
Felix and I? What an odd question. No. I had no intention of abusing Alexius's hospitality by seducing his son. Not that I've been proper my whole life, by any means. It wasn't like that. Even in illness, Felix was the best of us. With him around, you knew things could be better.
You make it sound like he was a better person than you.
What a mad thing to say. Few people are better than I. Very well, a better person, clearly, not nearly as handsome. Thankfully, Felix wasn't the only decent sort kicking around Thedas. Marvelous business, the Winter Palace. You saved an empress, and now she's eating out of your hand. Perfect mental image. All this dancing, politics, and murder makes me a bit homesick.
That's something you'd like to do more often, then?
Watch as you twist an entire empire around your little finger. Yes, please. Of course, that leaves only Tevinter. And it wouldn't work as well there.
No? Why not?
Our dances are so much more intense. If an evening lacks a murder, we sniff and call it a ball. I hope you tried the ham they were serving, by the way. Tasted of despair. It's fascinating.
You said Alexius was a mentor of yours.
He was my patron, sponsoring me to the higher levels of the Circle of Magi. In return, my successes were his. I had a lot of successes, naturally. He and I used to talk over brandy about the corruption, how we could one day make real... And then he... gave up. He stopped trying.
Why did he give up?
On a journey to Hossberg, a Darkspawn raid... He hadn't been there, you see. Alexius was convinced. I helped him with his research for a while, and then we... drifted apart.
That must have been difficult.
Back then, I was furious. I told him to snap out of it, move on. I thought I had all the answers. Later, I regretted my hasty words. But we didn't speak again until he approached me for the Venatori. Too much pride, I suppose. Plus, I was busy drinking. One must...
Was it hard being away from him?
It was hard not having a patron, yes. At any rate, he's fallen so low, I doubt he'll ever get up. Sad, really.
It occurs to me that I barely know anything about...
Beyond my being a mage from Tevinter, you mean?
Beyond that, yes.
And beyond my being so charming and well-dressed, which is obvious to anyone.
I'm well aware of your finer qualities, believe me.
Of course I believe you. The moment I saw you, I thought, there's a man who knows quality. Now, what was I talking about? Ah, yes, me. I am the scion of House Parvus, a product of generations of careful breeding and the repository of its hopes and dreams. Naturally, I despised it all. The lies, the scheming. That's Tevinter in a nutshell, isn't it? Needless to say, my family was not happy with my choices.
I'm getting the impression you don't care much for your homeland.
On the contrary, I care for my homeland a great deal. There's so much potential. Sadly, we squander it. We refuse to acknowledge how far we've fallen because pretending is easier. We pretend the Qunari can be beaten. We pretend that we're superior to everyone, even our own people. Not everyone feels that way. I don't. Sadly, we're the minority.
It just seems so much of what you say about the Imperium is entirely negative.
It might sound that way. For all our faults, my people have many virtues. We are laden with history and culture. Tevinter is where Thedas truly began, remember? We treasure our past and preserve it. You can walk down a side street and find nothing built during the modern ages. And despite appearances, we care. Deeply. About everything. We have no reserve, not in war and not in love. If I truly believed my homeland was beyond all hope, I wouldn't miss it so much.
I think I've heard enough.
That's too bad. I never tire of talking about myself.
I should go.
You know where I'll be.
Here is the request Harriet made.
I will see he gets it. I was pondering who might be divine, and it suddenly occurred to me. Is it so ridiculous for the Grand Clerics to support me? Why shouldn't they?
If you were divine, what would you do?
Change things. Change everything. Your support of the Mage Rebellion was a good start. We must build on this. No more circles. The mages will be free. The Chantry will accept them as the Maker's children. In fact, it will accept everyone. Elves, dwarves, even Canary. Why exclude them? The Chantry allows our differences to tear us apart, instead of teaching us how we are the same.
I think you would make a good divine.
I am glad to hear it. Your support may persuade the Grand Clerics to vote in my favor. Justinia wanted the Chantry to grow, but her reforms never took root. She was held back by tradition and was too gentle to force change. I won't make that mistake.
You can't force people to change their minds.
Then how will change ever come? People do not simply happen upon enlightenment. Most must be carried there. Justinia thought the circles needed to change. But why stop there? The Chantry alienated potential allies by brutalizing elves and belittling dwarves. If we could bring them into the fold, wouldn't we have peace? There are those who would cling to the old ways, of course. But they will see. I would make them see. But I've rambled on too long. I am not divine. Yet.
Can't make heads or tails of this. Age regression. Who is this potion for?
My dear, I know you must have a great deal on your mind right now, but I need to speak with you. You know as well as I how far the Inquisition's influence has spread, and how desperate the Grand Clerics have become. Our opinion will be instrumental in their election of the new Divine.
They want Liliana and Cassandra as candidates.
The Inquisition may not be invited to their vote, but our actions will certainly influence the Grand Clerics. To sit on the Sunburst throne, a candidate should have grace, charm, and a will of solid steel. Cassandra may lack the first two, but unless you can think of someone better, she is the strongest choice.
What would your ideal divine do with her power?
The most important thing, of course, is the restoration of the Circles and the Templar Order. The institutions that have protected Thedas for ages must be rebuilt, and the malcontents utterly crushed. We cannot allow anarchists to threaten the lives of the innocent. After we have restored sanity to the world, there will be time to address voices of dissent.
Where can we find candidates outside of the Chantry? There must be someone other than Liliana or Cassandra.
The Chantry is already desperate. They would not look to unordained women if they had any choice. You may have better luck searching the halls of the Imperial Court. There are many women serving the Empire who have the necessary presence and acumen.
Liliana might be a better choice than Cassandra, don't you think?
Liliana is a well-meaning fool. She will do irreparable harm to countless people in the name of freedom. She proposes to abolish the Circles with nothing but a solemn promise from mages not to murder children. When an angry mage lashes out inside a tower, villages aren't destroyed. The Circle protects us all. Mages will die and take ordinary men with them in a war that cannot be won. Consider carefully, Inquisitor. Everything we do is a sign from the Maker to those who seek one. It's been quite the momentous day, hasn't it, my dear? How do you feel? It's not every day one absorbs ancient elven magic.
Actually, between the voices and the binding oath to a possibly demonic power, I'm a bit concerned.
Wise of you, Inquisitor. We cannot guess at what the lasting effects of the well might be. The Circle had little information about elven magic to begin with. Perhaps I'll speak to Dorian. Rest assured, we will find a way to circumvent whatever bargain you've made. The pieces are nearly in place. We'll soon strike against Corypheus directly. The world hinges upon your actions, my dear. It remains to be seen how this will end. Do you need something, my dear?
What are your thoughts about the others in the Inquisition?
Sarah is certainly a colorful character. Like a poisonous toad, only without the manners. Do you need something, my dear?
What are your thoughts about the others in the Inquisition?
So Varric was spying on us all this time. I'm impressed. I never would have taken him for a player of the game. I'll have to watch him more closely from now on. How may I help you?
I wanted to ask you about the Circle of Magi.
Of course. What do you wish to know?
You must have an opinion of the Templars after living so long in the Circle.
Having opinions about Templars, my dear, is exactly like having opinions. I have known some who are impossible to endure. I have suffered insults at the hands of those in the armor, but no more than I endured from nobles. Personally, I have found the Templars a useful tool, skilled at keeping more unpleasant elements at bay. How may I help you?
I'd like to know more about you, Madame Vivienne.
Whatever would you like to know?
Your accent's not Orlesian. Where exactly are you from?
I am from the Circle, my dear. One's country of origin rarely matters there. But if you must know, I was born in Wycombe in the Free... I was sent to the Ostwick Circle, but I transferred to Monsieurmar while still an apprentice.
Do you think that you and I might someday...
Of course not, my dear. There's no advantage to such an arrangement. Did you need something, darling?
Do you think that you and I...
Oh, aren't you precious? Of course not, my dear.
My Lord Inquisitor, it's good of you to speak with me. I have news regarding one of your companions, the De Winter.
Has Dorian done something wrong?
No, thankfully. It's nothing like that. I have been in contact with his family. House Pavas, out of Carenas. Are you familiar with them?
Familiar? We've never met, if that's what you're
I'm suggesting nothing. I'm only curious whether you know of his... situation. The family sent a letter describing the estrangement from their son and pleading for my aid. They've asked to arrange a meeting quietly without telling him. They fear it's the only way he'll come. Since you seem to be on good terms with the young man, I'd hoped...
If you think I'm going to trick Dorian into meeting his family...
I feared you might say that. The family will send a retainer to meet the young man at the Red Cliff Tavern, to take him onward. If he truly does not wish this reunion, he can always end the matter there. I pray you change your mind, Inquisitor. Perhaps their letter will persuade you. If there is any chance of success in this, it behooves us to act.
I ran into Fiona. Seems you have Alexius serving the mages. There's some justice in that after what he did to them. Maybe one day he'll realize it.
Dorian, there's a letter you need to see.
A letter? Is it a naughty letter? A humorous proposal from some Antivan dowager?
Not quite. It's from your father.
From my father. I see. And what does Magister Hallward want, pray tell?
A meeting.
Show me this letter.
I know my son? What my father knows of me would barely fill a thimble. This is so typical.
I'm willing to bet this retainer is a henchman, hired to knock me on the head and drag me back to Tevinter.
You think your father would actually do that?
No, although I wouldn't put it past him. Let's go. Let's meet this so-called family retainer. If it's a trap, we escape and kill everyone. You're good at that. If it's not, I send the man back to my father with a message that he can stick his alarm in his wit's end.
There seems to be bad blood between you and your family.
Interesting turn of phrase. But you're correct. They don't care for my choices, nor I for theirs.
Because you wouldn't get married? Because you left?
That too.
Let's go meet this retainer, then.
I wonder how much my father paid this man to wait around just in case I showed. We'll find out soon enough.
There you are. I've been looking all over for you. I've just received the most terrible news.
What is it?
I'm engaged.
When did this happen?
For the past year, my mother and father have searched Antiva for a match for me. They had no idea you and I had grown so close. Today, I received a letter declaring they've betrothed me to Lord Adorno Cielo Tranto of Antiva. I must deal with this. But until then, we cannot be seen in a compromising situation. I'm so sorry.
Are you saying we should act like nothing has happened between us?
No, no, not at all. But it is not right that we carry on while I am betrothed. I must break off the match first.
Have you and this Antivan lord ever even met?
No. Perhaps, maybe at a cotillion some years ago. Oh, this is not what I wanted to happen. I barely remember Lord Otranto. I must see to this. And to my other duties. If I can keep my mind on them today at all. Inquisitor, I'm afraid untangling my engagement to Lord Otranto will take some time.
Is there anything I can do?
He is Antivan. The only acceptable thing to do would be to challenge him to a duel for my favor.
I don't want to kill the man, but if fighting him to a standstill works, so be it.
What? No, Inquisitor, please. That was said in jest. The traditional form of dueling among Antivan nobles isn't usually fatal, but there's always a chance of harm. I hardly wish to see you skewered on a sword point for the sake of my honor.
We'll be spread thin until the rest of our forces return from the Arbor Wilds.
Of course.
Inquisitor.
Inquisitor. Inquisitor. Letters are pouring in from all corners. Congratulations, pledges of loyalty, conversions to Andraste.
All premature until we deal with Corypheus.
It's good to see you.
Let's speak later.
Another time. A pleasure.
Let's speak later.
Farewell.